Welcome to Leaders in Cars Getting Coffee, and this time with a special dedication to coffee. Yes, it's all about coffee. So take a look behind me and I'm sure you will figure out from which company today's guest is. Yes, we will be talking to the former president of Starbucks, Howard Behar, who created a global coffee universe. When he started, there were only 8 stores. And when he left, there were about 15,000 stores in the world. And that's crazy considering it's just coffee. So join me on the ride and we'll find out together whether Starbucks' success is related to the coffee or to the people serving coffee or to the people that are being served the coffee. It's a great episode, especially if you're a coffee lover just like me. So enjoy the show and I'll see you afterwards. I'm gonna grab a coffee now.
Holy shit. We're here in beautiful Seattle with a beast of a car. If Ayrton Senna would drive a car today, the McLaren 650S would be the car that he would drive, I'm pretty fucking sure. And this car is the perfect vehicle for our episode today in Leaders in Cars Getting Coffee with Howard Behar, the former president of Starbucks. Because Howard stands for a very unique philosophy of leadership called servant leadership. And servant leadership is just extremely powerful, but still very rare in the world, right? And honestly, power and rare, which car encapsulates that better than the McLaren, right? So I can't wait to jump in very ungracefully at my size, get on the road, pick up Howard, and have an amazing ride with him. So let's get in it.
Oh, now that is cool. That is cool.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Howard, good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
What do you think?
I think that's fantastic.
Right?
Yeah, gotta love it. I've never been anything like that before. I have a 911, but it's nothing like that.
Oh, yeah, Porsches are awesome, but
this is awesome.
another level. It is another level of awesome, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Should we go?
Let's go.
Let's do it. So, you know, at some point you have to emancipate yourself as a man from your dad. So I was going around, I was trying to talk to all these influential people in my life who had a lot to do with HP and all of this. And I remember I talked to the guy who took my dad's job as head of HR in Europe at HP. His name is Günther Fleischer. And I said, hey, how was it working with my dad? And he said, oh, I loved working for your dad. And I was like, that's such an odd word to use in business. I loved working for your dad. You know, you say you like it. I learned a lot. I developed it. He said, I loved it.
Well, it should. I mean, we don't use love at all very much in business, but it should be used a lot more because I loved my people. I didn't love my people the same that I love my wife. It's a different kind of love, but
otherwise you got in trouble too, right?
In today's world, you really get in trouble. When I grew up, it wasn't so much trouble, but in today's world, you would. But it is love. It's love because they're human beings,
yeah.
You know, and they deserve to be loved and cared about. And that's, you know, we don't see it that way enough, and we need to do more loving in the workplace in that sense.
Why has that gotten lost? Why is there so little of it?
You know, I think a lot of it is more about self today. I grew up in a family, an immigrant family, where all my aunts and uncles all had small businesses. Yeah. And that's the way it was for immigrants: jewelry stores, pawn shops. My uncle was a tailor. I had another uncle that was a bagel maker. Yeah. And the relationships that they had with the people that they worked with, they were their friends. Yeah. It wasn't just somebody that you work with, but they were really your friends. And
it wasn't an abstract concept. It was people, right?
It was people. It was real. And that's the big difference, you know. It's my father had a small mom and pop grocery store, and
Is that from around here in Seattle?
Yeah, he was an immigrant from Bulgaria in 1911. He was actually born in 1895.
Okay.
And came here as a 16-year-old on his own. He had a brother who lived in Vancouver, British Columbia.
Yeah.
And he came here and he had to go to high school to learn the language. Worked at the Pike Place Market, which is a public market. At that time, it was really a real farmer's market.
How do we get to the Pike Place Market?
Okay, Pike Place. How do we get to Pike Place Market? You're going to have to go left somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I doubt, as you said, we'll probably not make it to the original Starbucks, but at least we can go by.
We can drive by it. Yeah, you'll see. There'll be a lineup out the door this morning.
Because we were standing in it yesterday, just to say, once I want to be there. But I was told that every barista has the Green Apron book.
Yeah.
And that if you ask nicely, they'll give it to you.
That's right.
So I'll just try to pop in and try to get it for us.
Try to get a book? Okay,
yeah?
Good, yeah.
All right, so your dad had a business here?
He had a small mom and pop grocery store, and it was in a neighborhood. And I was about 8 years old, and I used to go over there every day after school. And one day I was standing by the front counters, my dad was ringing up. This was back before there were buttons and you pull the crank.
It was mechanical, right?
Mechanical. And he was ringing up the customer, and while he was ringing up the customer, he said, "Howard, go get me a couple of baskets of strawberries." No, oh yeah, you can go here. So I went to the back and I got some strawberries and I brought them up to the front, and I watched my dad put them in the bag, and the customer left, and I was old enough to recognize that my dad hadn't rung them up on the cash register.
Okay.
And I said, "Dad, you forgot to ring those up on the cash register."
Yeah.
And he just looked at me and he said, "Son, not everything we do in life should we get paid for."
Okay.
Right? And I happen to know that these people love strawberries, but I also happen to know that they can't afford to buy them right now because fruit is expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "So is this my way of helping them out? Because they're not just our customers. They're our neighbors and our friends." And that lesson, although I didn't recognize it at the time, stuck with me the rest of my life. That we're here to help others and to serve others. And that's what servant leadership is all about.
It's crazy. So in that whole time when I kind of had to find my own way, and my dad was huge in the HR scene, so it was stupid of me to go into that business because everybody's like, "Hey, just like your dad," But later I asked my dad, and I was like, you never really gave me books to read, or you never gave me lessons per se on what that kind of leadership was that was at HP. But yet it seems that it's in my blood. Like I can't operate any other way than what you just described. And he said, well, it was actually a carefully designed process in a way that he had talked to a friend of his who was in knowledge management. And he said, don't teach him, don't talk to him about it, put him in situations where he experiences it. And either it'll filter through and he'll adapt it, or it was a lost cause anyway, right?
I think that is absolutely true. There's this word that likes to be used in organizations that we train people. We don't, you train pets, you train dogs and cats and horses. You educate and develop human beings. Yeah. And the way you educate and develop them primarily is by setting up experiences for them so that they can learn by doing it themselves.
A culture like that, my feeling, tell me if you think I'm wrong, is not very resilient. Like the HP way got destroyed very quickly from the inside through the merger with Compaq.
Yes, it did, didn't it?
So it needs to be cared for and nurtured.
All the time. It can happen so quickly. The destruction of a culture, no matter what the culture is, can happen extremely quickly. You don't even see it coming. Because culture is not some program. Culture is who you are. Yeah. And so if the leadership is a bunch of jerks, then that's what you're going to get. If you like assholes, then work for assholes. Right? Yeah. As I like to say,
I think if you think about it, a lot of the cynicism in the workplace, I think, is self-protection as well.
Sure.
I mean, we were talking initially about love, and it hardly ever comes your way. It's like, look, I'll treat you well if you bring the numbers, but other than that, man, you're just, you're a resource here. Right?
Yeah, no kidding. Whenever I hear a leader say people are our most important asset, I know that they don't get it. Go straight.
Yeah, people are not an asset. They're not a resource.
No, they're not an asset. Assets are cars or trucks or computers. When you go to turn them on, they start up. If you take care of them, they start up. They always give you what you expect. People are human beings. They never give you what you expect on both sides of the equation. Yeah. And not everything works. I mean, Starbucks has failed at a lot of things that we've tried. We created what we thought was going to be a fantastic chocolate drink, hot chocolate drink. And we did all the testing and got it out there, and people hated it because it was too rich. And
Cherry Coke?
it was, yeah, cherry Coke. Or even there was a product called Mazagran, which was going to be a coffee cola.
Okay.
We thought, man, it was a joint venture with Pepsi, and they had all this research people, and we got it out there, a beautiful bottle. We thought it tasted great. It got out there, it didn't even last a month.
Okay.
And it was gone. But you know something? From that failure came a product called bottled Frappuccino, and which turned out to be a huge success globally. And so consequently, that's how it is.
And I think it's essential that we'll be surprised by our people like this, and that we give them the space to fail.
Yeah.
Right.
Give
And
them space to fail, and when they do fail, ask them what they've learned about it.
yeah.
What have you learned about it, and what can we do better next time, and and how can I help you the next time, or whatever it is. But it's making people feel good, not only about the things they do well, but the things they don't do well, and helping them to get better at what they're doing.
Pat, is this one of the owners?
I'd like a triple tall Americano, no room, hot.
He wants to know if you're an owner.
I wanted to know if you're one of the owners.
I worked here for 21 years.
Did you?
Yeah.
Job security.
Job security. That's
I just
right.
told the girl that said she's been there a year. I said you'll never lose your job here.
No, right.
So I'll ask her. Let's see. Green Apron book, right?
Green Apron book. See if you can get one.
So I have a question. Do you know who he is?
No.
That's Howard Behar. He used to be the president of Starbucks for 20 years.
No, he isn't.
He is.
No, he isn't.
He is.
No.
He doesn't believe me.
No.
So I have a mission. He says there's a Green Apron book that employees have with the culture code.
I don't have. I mean, we don't give them out. I mean, there is a book that gives us instructions about stuff.
So that's what he said. Like, if I asked nicely, I'd be given one. Can I ask one of the baristas?
No, I am a barista. You can ask anybody you want, but I don't think you're going to get one.
All right, let me try it.
Don't cut in line. You got to go back there to order.
So they said that was a thing. They don't have it anymore.
I've got them. You want one?
Well, I'm just saying, that's how quickly things get lost, right?
Yeah. Things get lost, right? It's too bad. Yeah.
So what would have been the first lesson that we'd learned if we had the Green Apron book?
Well, the first lesson we have is that you treat people. It's about people. It's not about customers.
That's how quickly things.
How quick it changes. Yeah, but they don't know, and she's not supposed to know me. Why would she care?
Yeah.
Right? I've been gone for 9 years, so it's part of life. If you expect perfection, you better find another world to live in. It does not exist.
Yeah, that's true.
What I do expect is that people are nice and they treat you as a human being, not as a customer.
And the funny thing is, so my two oldest daughters, they're 16 and 13, Kasia and Mika, and they are Starbucks addicts, right? So when I told them that I'm meeting you, and they were like, oh my God, that is so awesome. Can you please tell them that for us, like, it's the spot where we go with our friends where we can have the best conversations, and they have their drinks that they're so happy that when the barista sees them coming, and they already have the orange mocha frappuccino ready or whatever,
Yeah.
But it's become a verb in their life to say, we go Starbucks it.
Starbucks didn't create it. We brought it to America.
Yeah.
We brought coffee with this vehicle, what we call the third place. But there used to be the taverns, right? Go straight, yeah. That you'd go to them, but primarily it was for men after work. They'd go have a beer or two, whatever it happened to be, or 3.
Yeah.
But today, the coffee house has made it safe for everybody to go. You could be a teenager coming up from school. You could be a policeman coming in on a break. You could be an architect going in to talk to a client. You could be a significant other meeting your significant other to just talk.
It's
about
very
life.
democratic in that way,
It's
right?
very democratic, and it's a place that people can go. Yeah.
That's why I think the outcry was so loud now in this whole diversity issue, right? When the 3 African American people were kicked out or something?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't quite clear. All right, if you go to a Starbucks, do you need to consume something, or can you just sit there? And then it was like, well, there are no clear guidelines, there are no clear policies. And then the immediate response was, we need to train our leaders, and we need to create policies.
Well, that's the problem.
Keep going straight.
It's straight, yeah. We always said that you can come sit.
Yeah.
There was, that you don't have to have a policy. Do you have to have a policy for somebody to sit in your living room?
Yeah.
You don't, right?
No.
They come in, they sit down on the chair, whatever it happens to be, and that's
Clean up after yourself. That will be the policy.
Yeah, that was the policy. But that was who we were, and then then leadership owned it, because leadership, was saying, well, people are coming in, sitting, taking up chairs, and not buying anything, and our regular customers can't do it. But you can't have that. It either is or it isn't.
Yeah.
Right? And it's either fair for everybody, it isn't. But, it just happened. After 50 years of being in business, or almost 50 years of being in business, to have one incident like that, it was a catastrophe. We're going to go straight. And it was a catastrophe because we expected more from ourselves. I mean, Howard Schultz literally was crying about it. I talked to him the day after that had happened. And, because everything that he believed in and everything that he stood for and stands for was tested at that moment in time. And so everybody was disappointed. I was disappointed. I haven't been there for a long time, worked there for a long time. But what I hoped I'd left behind was that we treat human beings as human beings, not as customers.
So
when you think of people as a customer, they have a dollar bill painted on their forehead. And if you do what they want you to do, you'll get that dollar bill. That's not what it's about. You treat people as human beings, whether they're going to spend any money with you or not.
Yeah.
And that's what we tried to do.
So where would the coffee be?
Okay, we're going right over there.
Over there?
Yeah, this is a new store. This is called the Roastery.
Okay.
And this is a fantastic store. It's about 20-some thousand square feet or bigger than that.
Okay.
And it's got a bakery from Italy in it. That with a partnership that Starbucks has formed, and it's a fantastic place. You will not believe this place.
Can't wait.
Place to get a
So let's
coffee.
peel ourselves out of this machine.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'll give you a helping hand if you want one.
Well, let's see. We'll figure it
All
out.
right. So
this is my favorite coffee.
discipline, hard work, and commitment.
Yeah. It's coffee. People think coffee is coffee. Coffee is not coffee.
Thank you.
It's like saying red wine is red wine. It's not. Coffee. Each coffee is unique, and each season is unique.
Yeah.
I always wanted to.
One of the things I read about you was that the mantra that you were giving out is that we're not in the coffee business. We're in the people business.
Yeah, we're not in the coffee business serving people. We're in the people business serving coffee.
Yeah.
And that drove it. And that came from, because in the early days of all organizations, they all think they're in the business of whatever their product or service is about. And everybody here thought it was about coffee. Probably at HP it was about technology. But then once you hire the first person, now it's no longer about the product, it's about the people.
Well, I think the notion that was instilled in me there was technology business. We're making a contribution to these people's lives for the better, so these organizations become more humane. Technology is a vehicle.
Yes, that's all it is. It's a vehicle. Servant leadership is not about doing things for people when it's easy. Caring is not about just doing things when there's no price attached. You care like you really mean it, and that means when it costs you, emotionally, economically, physically. That's what it means.
And this is kind of the linchpin question that I always ask leaders when we're talking about implementing our technology. And I say, would you be willing for this culture, would you be willing to sacrifice profit? Would you be making a decision against some business that you shouldn't be making because it's the wrong thing to do? And they'd be like, no, we will never forego. If there's an opportunity to make business, we have to take it. Then it's not a sacrifice, right? Then if there's no opportunity cost to doing the right thing, then it's not the right thing, it's just luxury.
Yeah. No. The decision is what's right for people. And there's this ridiculous belief that somehow they doing what's right for people and making profit are in conflict with each other. They're not in conflict with each other at all. Now, if you say I have to maximize profit, then you could get into a conflicted situation. But if you say I need to optimize profit, and that means what comes first? It's people first, profit second. That doesn't mean you don't need to make a profit.
Yeah.
I'm a capitalist pig. I love the game of business, but not at the expense of other human beings.
That's right.
Starbucks' mission statement, which I plagiarized for myself, goes like this. They want to be one of the most well-known and respected organizations in the world, known for nurturing and inspiring the human spirit. It doesn't say a damn thing about how many stores we're going to have, how much money we're going to make. It doesn't even say about what we're selling. Right? And so, if I could, I'm 74 years old, so maybe I get another 20 years in my life. And if I'm in a wheelchair or in a rocking chair someplace, and what will make me the most happy, if I read an article in the newspaper, it said that Starbucks set out to nurture and inspire the human spirit. And they're not perfect, but you know what? They did that. I will never remember the sales in August of 1994. I will never remember how many cups of coffee we sold. I will never remember any of that. I will remember the people I touched, the people that touched me, and what we did for the world. That's all. And that's what I will be proud of. And that is success. So what do you want to be known for? That's the question you have to ask yourself. What do you want to be known for? Before I go to bed, I ask myself a very simple question. Howard, how did you do today?
Will our little coffee talk contribute to making this a good day?
It's a good day for me. I hope that one person says to themselves, I can be better.
Cool.
I can do that. That's all. I only need one. I don't know how many people get to see this, but if just one starts to ask a question, how can I be a better human being? How can I support other human beings? How can I be a servant leader? Then I win.
Yeah.
You know, then I have done my job.
Yeah, it's me again, now with a cup of Starbucks coffee. Wasn't it a great episode? I mean, Starbucks is a great example that you can have an impact on how people collaborate and how people define leadership in any kind of business. So if Starbucks can be a game changer, you can be too. Don't miss out our next Leaders in Cars episodes, because there you will meet a lot of other game changers, and they can inspire to find your personal way to change your game. I'm looking forward to see you again. Stay tuned, there's a lot of great stuff to come.